Actually, on my graduation, I had also just found out that I was pregnant. So I built a business around a very young family. Hi, I'm Sandra Greenbank, and I help couples improve their fertility naturally.
Cool. Sandra, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Really excited to hear your journey, how you've built your business, how you've built your expert brand. I love to just start with a little bit of context. So for you, can you share a little bit more about how you got started in the whole sort of nutrition space? Was it a career that you imagined that you would be doing? Where did it start?
I was actually an accountant before I became a nutritionist. And I think that, I'd come to London. I've been, I was working in media and TV and advertising and sort of going 100 miles an hour and working, all hours and kind of going out and exercising. And I think that I had an experience that, I got ill. I was, exhausted and couldn't work out why. And, my GP kept saying there's nothing wrong with you. And, trying to put me on antidepressants because they were like, well, that you must be depressed because you're so tired all the time. And I was like, I can't possibly, that can't be it. And I went to see a nutritionist and, that was it. She just basically sorted me out. And I thought, I want to do what she does, and help other people feel better. And it was such a simple thing that she did. And I think that's where it got started.
Amazing. And so tell me about some of those first steps that you took to make the transition, because, going from one career to another, which for some of our listeners may be something they're thinking about or in the process of doing, is not always straightforward. You have, responsibilities, commitments, maybe expectations that you should keep doing that thing that you're trained to do. So tell me about the transition.
It was a 4-year course and I graduated 12 years ago. So that's 16 years ago. I was, I didn't have any dependents. I didn't have children at the time. So I'm the sort of person who just thinks I get an idea and then I just sort of just go for it. So I just enrolled at ION, the Institute for Optimum Nutrition. And it was so life-changing. It was incredible. I made so many friends. We would meet up every, for a weekend every month and do the studies and sort of catch up. And so, I made friends for life as well. I mean, it was just, I think that once you know what you know and once you learn what you learn, once you've been through it, you sort of can't go back and unlearn it and not do it. So for years, I did that alongside my other job. So I just kind of took, I cut my days. And actually on my graduation, I had also just found out that I was pregnant. So I built a business around a very young family. Yeah. And I suppose I was working a lot with people who were stressed, which is the background that I came from. So stress, and I always wanted to work in fertility. It was just a subject that really, really fascinated me. And I've always been I've always thought, if you want to change public health, you need to change families. You need to start when children are young and get everybody eating well, because then they'll probably go to uni and sort of have a blip, and then they'll, start eating how they learn to eat from home again. And so I always wanted to kind of take that route into sort of helping people from families, and it really starts before you're born.
What's one thing that you wish that you'd known when you first started your business journey?
I wish I would have known that I was going to have to become an entrepreneur.
What's one thing that maybe you wish you'd done sooner in your business?
Get an assistant.
Why do you do what you do?
I just genuinely, honestly, just want to help people. I thrive on it. It's what gives me energy to get up in the morning. I absolutely love it.
Amazing. What would you say is the best part about your job?
So many things. I mean, getting that text message to say, I'm pregnant, or we just had a baby. Thank you for everything. It wouldn't be possible without you. I mean, it makes me cry every single time.
I bet.
It's just so lovely. But also seeing practitioners grow, it's just amazing to feel like you're doing something to improve the life for one person or, maybe several people. with the knowledge that I have as a nutritionist, I think that you have so much scope to create the life that you want with the business. You can go and stand on stage, or you can, I don't know, get into TV if you want to, or write a book, or, you can do anything you want, and you just have to engineer it in a way that suits you and your personality and how you want to live your life. And I think it's so exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. What would you say is the best piece of advice that you've received?
Someone told me once, someone who had written a book and said, it's not the best book that could have ever been written, but I wrote it. And, and he said, a book published is better than a book in your head. And, I'm not about to publish a book, but that's really stuck with me and my sort of perfectionist streak. Just do it.
Yeah. And I think you were about to say, like, done is better than perfect. I have to remind myself and my clients of that all the time. Just put the crap version out and then allow yourself to improve it or reiterate it or evolve over time. I love that advice so much. I'd love to hear your journey of, not only building your expertise, which you've talked about, how you've become an expert in fertility nutrition and really built that reputation, but also the point at which you realized that you would also have to understand the business mechanics of it. So I talk about kind of the art of being an expert, but also the science of building a business.
Gosh, I mean, that was something that college never, ever even, there was a business module. We did a business plan, but, it was just nothing like, and also when I graduated, there was no Instagram. Facebook was new.
Yeah.
I'm that old. But, there was nothing like that. I had a website, but, I was pounding the pavements. I was going to every NCT group who would have me. I would go to every cafe and run events, and, I'd go and physically see people. And so I suppose that's how I started. But being from a finance background, I think maybe, I've coached a lot of other nutritionists as well in business since kind of building my own. And what I've realized is that a lot of people who choose to work in the field of health and wellness, they're not necessarily business minded. They just want to help people, and they're very kind and caring, but they're not necessarily don't have a finance head on them, which I do. And my job was always to kind of, from the start of a business or a project or something, was to budget for it, and then, make sure that we hit our targets and we stayed on budget and all of this. So, and I've always been also somebody who's always had a plan. I'm like, in 5 years' time, this is what I want to be. And, I remember getting together with my husband, and I was like, in 5 years' time, we're going to leave London. And he was like, how on earth is this going to happen? We both work in London. And I was like, it will happen, but you have to have a plan. And then you can decide on the steps you need to take to get there. But if you don't have a plan, it's like, if you get into the car and you don't put a postcode in your sat nav, how's the sat nav going to take you where you're going?
Right.
So that, I think, has helped. But obviously the social media, putting yourself out there, was really, really frightening to start with. I just thought, why on earth would anyone want to know anything about me? And why would I go out there and talk about myself? Like, it's just absolutely alien to me.
How do you think you best overcame that uncomfortability? Was it just, stepping in and doing it?
I think I was working with a coach, actually. Her name is Shannon Monson. She's a US coach, and she was brilliant because she just sort of explained it so well. She sort of explained it in the terms that, you're the guide, and the main person in the story, or you're making up your brand, so you're portraying your brand story, and the main character of the story is not you. The main character of the story is your client, and you are the guide. And so spotlighting whatever you're doing and turning it to the client, and explaining to them how everything you're writing or everything that you're putting out, how it can help them. It helped take the spotlight off me, because it wasn't about me, it was about them. And I realized that actually by posting or blogging or podcasting or whatever it is I was doing, I was actually helping other people. And that's what I needed to know to get over my own self.
Yeah, absolutely. And even just you mentioning there that you recognized that maybe there was, something that a coach could help you with is so critical when you're starting out in business and recognize a gap in your skill set or a fear or something that you know that you need to do that you're not doing. And so has that been an important part of your journey? And I guess we'll get onto it in a moment, but why it inspired you to kind of help other nutritionists navigate this space?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, ever since then, I've had a coach. I've coached with various people. And, I think I've had some coaching experiences that were sort of less than ideal, but I think that you need to, in yourself, don't get carried away with sort of what everyone else is doing or what coach someone else is working with or what's worked for them, because you need to recognize and understand what it is that you need help with and support with, and then go and find that person. And it's generally not the one with the most followers or, and it could be mindset, it could be finances, it could be social media, or it could be, whatever it might be, but you need to understand what you need at any given time. And one coach probably isn't going to be able to cover all of it.
Love for you to just sort of reflect on maybe some of the most powerful learnings that you've had through the journey of building your own personal brand and expert business, maybe reflecting on the challenges, but also how you've grown as a person, as an entrepreneur, as well as an expert.
I think that I always just wanted to help as many people as possible. And that's always been at the heart of every decision that I've made, I suppose. As a person, it's just so hard to kind of think back to, I think I'm somebody who always has a lot of ideas. And what I've learned about myself, I suppose, is that if I decide to do something, not to focus on the end goal, but actually just focus on the steps that I need to take to get to the next level. And, I have so many people kind of constantly going, how do you do it all? I don't know how you do it, because I've got, always sort of lots of things happening at the same time. But it's just about putting one foot in front of the other all of the time and just focusing on that. And you're going to move forward, and maybe not as quickly as you would like to, but you will move forward if you just keep going. But you have to have that tenacity and the conviction, I suppose, in what you're doing. And please don't listen to anybody else, because if you were to listen to other people, your mum or friends or colleagues, they all have their own filter on things and will advise you based on what they think might be possible. And they all have their limiting beliefs, or maybe they don't necessarily want you to succeed for whatever reason that might be, who knows? And so just listen to your own, your own heart and stay convinced. And, if that means having what do you call it, a sort of collage on your wall that sort of reminds you every day of what you're trying to get to, then, that's a great tool to just keep you focused.
Sandra, it's been such a gift to have you on the show. So many, pearls of wisdom and practical insights. So I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.